It is the second episode of today's watch along, and of course, we will still be going through that match that's currently underway. It is the battle of the bottom two on the lock table, and that is England as well as Afghanistan. England, as long as it's England versus Netherlands in that match, and of course, with England, we've seen them coming into this match guns blazing, like we had predicted earlier on as well with David and Tandy, that they will set a score. You actually said that they'll set a score that is above 300.
Yeah.
And I said anything above 250 would be acceptable for them. And just looking at them and doing that 339 runs and just making sure that they set it as high as possible. But people would say that they're peaking rather too late in the competition because now there's literally nothing to play for except for that top seven spot. And of course, Tasman will be joining us just right now, just to serve us that hi. We made predictions yesterday, and she said that Australia was not going to win that one, and Afghanistan was going to cause an upset. Just in a moment, though, we're going to be talking to Tasman about that, as well as that masterclass we witnessed yesterday from Clan Maxwell, who's out injured, of course, won't be competing any longer in this tournament. But coming back to today's game, the battle of the bottom two teams. We've spoken already in the morning about, how England will just be looking to bow out of this competition with some pride. And then that means that with the remaining two games, they have to win that to ensure that at least they don't just have a single win to their name in this entire tournament. We see them trying to do that against Netherlands today. And of course, Netherlands seem to be under so much pressure, with Colin Ackerman, who was just dismissed as well for a duck by David Willey. Let's talk about that match, from today. I made my prediction and said that England was gonna, win that match. And I still stand by that. But there is a possibility that we could be seeing what happened yesterday,
Oh, yes.
thinking that there's just too many early wickets coming through. But they could also still do what Australia did yesterday.
Definitely. I'm still shook that England, after all, they still have that juice to continue playing like that because I haven't seen such a score coming from England from the
Yeah.
past, is it 7 or so games? It's
Seven
not like,
matches.
really, what have they been waiting for if they're able to play like this and they're performing well like this? Why are they just waking up now?
When it's too late.
When it's too late, really, they might say no, it's not yet too late. If you have this win, we have another one. We're in the top 8, but really, it's like why until now? We've been wanting to see good quality coming from them, and I'm sure right now they don't have much fans anymore because of the way they were performing.
I mean,
But
you
now
heard with
they're
David
just
Brooks, he's just no longer with the team fully.
yeah, and it's I think the other thing which they might be having right now today is like they're already at the bottom and they're facing Netherlands. They've got this thing about against Netherlands where they'll be like, no ways, no matter what, we can't lose against Netherlands. Really, they are our juniors, that type of thing. So I'm sure it's that kind of little fight, the boys type of things where they'll just be against each other.
And also the
And
fact
also
that
for the pride.
yeah,
Exactly.
also for the pride. And also remember, if we are to look at stats, this would be the first time if Netherlands does win that they win against England in an ODI format. So much to play for, not only in just that for England, but Netherlands as well. We've seen them causing an upset against South Africa, giving them the first loss of the tournament. So of course, these are the two teams that really want to bow out with some pride in this competition.
Yeah, like talking about pride, it's one of those they're already feeling that everyone is just underestimating them. They've lost that respect they gained last World Cup where they were the championship winners. But right now, literally, no one is really seeing them for who they are. No matter how hard they try, they're still at the bottom. It's like, oh, it's them. Okay, fine. But now they're just saying, okay, we can't let Netherlands beat us as well. It's like we're literally donating everything else to all the points to these other teams. What are we going to go back home with?
Sure.
So that one win in their pocket, that was then. Now it's like they've been having so many raids, the losses. And I'm sure they are saying, okay, we can't let this one go as well. Never know who are facing next. And if you don't get this win here, it's going to be hard. But at the same time, for Netherlands, I feel it's going to be another Australia type of game where we'll
think
be
so?
saying that they've lost so many wickets right now. It's less than first power play really, and they've lost two. Never know what's going to happen in the middle there, but I'm sure Taz will be with me on this one as much as we're seeing England as winners, but I feel should have more like in depth about the players. Really, she will tell us who we can look out for and
Yeah.
who will be like the monster with the bat and who will help the team move forward.
And just talking about that, obviously, you say that the current score is 22 for 2, still in the first power play, so 9.3 overs. Netherlands need 318 runs in 40.3 overs. They still have the tie.
Yeah.
They still have the players to take them to 340 to win the match today. However, there's players also in that England squad who are chasing record for the likes of Jos Butler, who needed only 71 runs to reach 5,000 ODI runs in 151 ODI in 151 innings, and he did not manage to get that today. He got 5 runs of 11 deliveries, so that's not impressive at all, especially from the captain as well, which will also just take us back to just to, if we are to have the chat about captain, who will come back to Temba Bavuma as well, who hasn't really contributed as much. Whereas you look at teams like India, their captains have been performing so well. In Rohit Sharma, who's been brilliant and amazing for India, but in these other teams, you see the captains really just struggling to get their names, struggling to get their runs on the scoreboard, especially as openers, to just make that impact for their teams.
Yeah, true. Like what you're saying right now, the captains have been doing their utmost best for the teams, really. But we can't really put the SA one in the spotlight, really. It's one of those, he's doing his part with the field setup and everything, but when it comes to his role as a player as well, he's still struggling. We don't know why, but I'm sure they're working on that, because if they've qualified really to the semi-finals without him contributing much, imagine when he finally wakes up right now.
But
Even though it's
when
the
is
last
that gonna
minute,
be?
it's going to be another England type of move.
Okay.
Never know.
So towards the end of the
Towards the end. And I was just looking at the Netherlands players here. I just saw one of the top, let's say, the leading runners, score runners for Netherlands. They've got Scott Edwards, who's yet to get in. That one is someone whom we might depend on, because currently he has 227 runs, averaging of 45, which is not too bad, and 2 centuries. So if he has 2 centuries already in his belt, I'm sure you would want to earn another one today, even if it's going to be a tough one. But that consistency, patience, really, it will take him far, and he will have another century in his bag. Seems like in every game there should be 2 or 3 people with centuries. So with this game, I'm sure it won't be very difficult. And I'm seeing here, the states, they're saying the current run rate for Netherlands is 2.30, but they're required to be having around 7.92 runs per over. So it's right now it's a little bit slowed down, and
it's very slow.
If
But
they continue like this, then it's going to be difficult for them to catch up with the score. So at least if they score an average of 8 runs per over, that will be definitely guarantee them that they're going to win this match.
And of course, Tasman will be joining us in a moment to also just talk about this match that's currently underway. I don't think, though, that Netherlands would be able to cause an upset against England today. Already the score is as high as as England has ever scored, surely, in this tournament. And of course, for Netherlands to be chasing that, if they do win this match, then they would have also just broken their own record in this tournament of chasing successfully over 330 runs. So it's going to be interesting how this one just comes along. But so far, the leading run scorer for Netherlands with 40 balls, 40 deliveries, only 12 runs, and that is Baresi, as well as Odward, who we love to talk about because he's also just a very key player in that
Yeah.
Netherlands squad. It would be also interesting to see how Bastelliere will be, just leading the pack today and just betting. I'm also interested to see how Logan van Beek will perform in today's match as well as Roelof, because these are the key players also for Netherlands, and they will just also be looking to get those runs on the scoreboard for their teams and hopefully lead their teams to the top 7 and qualify for that
Definitely.
championship trophy.
Oh yeah, and I'm also looking at how England played. I'm looking at Ben Stokes. It's one of the people, yes, they were looking forward to his performance, but the fact that he's not an opener and he managed to survive for that long, like betting for that long, managed to earn himself a century. That's something recommendable.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were all motivated by the way Australia betters were doing yesterday.
His very first ODI century, by the way.
Oh,
His
really?
maiden
Wow.
century. So that's one for the books, coming right at the end of the tournament where there's just like one more game to go.
Yeah. Making sure that they're making it very memorable, and if they're going out with that bang. So they don't want to go out without putting on that fight and making sure they take it all the way, I guess.
And they will be looking to do that, especially with what happened yesterday, with how successfully Australia chased that run yesterday by Afghanistan. Like we've already spoken about that match, but there is just so much, to talk about over and over in that match, because what we've witnessed yesterday, I don't think has ever been done. Like David Brooks has said, he had to even think back to 40 years ago when it was done. And we were not even born then. We were not even thought about then. Our parents maybe were not even born by then. But just that quality of, cricket yesterday, by Glenn Maxwell, who just really made sure that his performance is really just out there, and for people to try to think of somebody who might have tried to replicate, or somebody who did that before him, and to just think of years ago. This, for me, I feel like it just proves that there is competition, and we are definitely in the right time of the tournament, because teams are under pressure to qualify for the top 4 spot. They're under pressure to qualify for the top 7. So I think it's been a tournament to remember so far.
Yeah, so far so good. And that just got me thinking. It reminds me of your conversation with David and with Taz when you guys were talking about the quality of game which is being played now. I'm just realizing how much cricket has evolved. Back then, 50 over game, it felt so long because you'll be like, Ish, I'm going to watch cricket the whole day. When can it finish, right? But right now, like how Taz and David broke it down, that it's now a matter of playing first 20 overs, then 30 overs at the end, or 20-20-10. The way pacing yourself, and the way they are playing right now, you are now excited. If you don't see those boundaries now, you're saying, what's going on now? But the fact that they are making it like an action type of matches, in terms of there's so much work to be done. They're no longer seeing it as the long version type of game anymore, but it's now a mixture of the T20s and then the test match eventually. But now the excitement is now in between.
It's building up. And of course, we will keep updating the scores as we'll just be taking a water break. But let's talk about, just being ducked out with no runs on the scoreboard. Surely that affects the momentum also of the team.
It does. Just reminds me of what happened to, was it Virat Kohli last time when he came out
against England, actually. So England have this habit of just ducking people out before they even make the first
like
run.
That's their chain moment right now. It's either you come out with a nothing or with something. So it's
you
one
go
of
big
those.
or you go home. So it's one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess that's now their trademark, really, to take out the top order batsmen with those zeros after facing 1 or 2 balls. Then
And it's also so interesting to just see Joe Root. David has been talking about Joe Root the whole morning today, saying that he will also just be looking to, make sure that he performs really well. I'm not sure if this is really well according to David's vocabulary, but he's just there. 16 deliveries, 11 runs. I don't think that's too good with a strike rate of 68.75. So it seems like when the key players seem to be under pressure, and when it matters most, they don't give it their all. They don't, like, perform as well as their teammates or everybody else would expect them to.
Yeah, it shows that people, they adapt differently. Like they get into that zone differently. One
Yeah.
minute you're in that zone and you realize you're all by yourself. Everyone else is just having a down moment. That's when you realize those who are feeling down, they'll literally go out with single scores really. But those who are in the moment, they just try to anchor everyone else, carry that burden and move up. At the end, they're not going to say, what did you do as an individual? They're saying, as a team, this is what we achieved.
Yeah.
And then as an individual score, yes, you would have ruined your own stats, but at the end, it's all about the team. So I feel that kind of togetherness or teamwork, it goes a longer way compared to playing the sport as an individual. You only think about your own stats. You don't care about what other people say or how you are going to help them. Like what happened yesterday, Glenn Maxwell, if it was one of those individual type of thing, everyone was just going to want to have their own stats and not help him achieve his own stats.
Okay, seems like we do have Tez on the line joining us right now, and here to account for what happened yesterday in that match. After confidently backing Afghanistan, accept courses of yesterday's match. Tasman, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, where is our chocolate?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say I didn't chicken out and pitch up in studio today because of weather, but I got you guys chocolates. Don't worry, we can work this out. We're still friends at the end of the day, and a bet is a bet at the end of the day. I wouldn't want to be on the winning end of the bet, and you guys don't pull through for me.
Yeah, of course. You have to keep your word, and we'll do the same when you get the bet right. But man, what a performance from, the team yesterday, Australia. When we left the studio yesterday, it was 91 for 7. And suddenly when we get home, almost an hour later, right? We turn on the TV, Clan Maxwell has done the unthinkable. When you all walked in also from the gym and you were just like, take about Glenn Maxwell, 201 runs, 2 centuries, and an injury, just playing injured, refusing to go out and just saying, I will finish what I have started. Just tell us, what do you make of that performance yesterday from Australia and that comeback, of course?
Yeah, a brilliant innings by Glenn Maxwell. That's what happens when you have an all-rounder in your team. They can fire for you on any day, be it with the bat or with the ball in hand, and that's what it takes in close calls type of situation. That regardless of whether you lose the key players that are supposed to be your main batsman at the top of the order, we've seen Warner go early, and just everybody just fooling around. It takes that one guy in the team, for example, Maxwell yesterday, just saying, look, I don't care what's happened at the top of the order. I don't mind that everybody's come out, and I still got a fair chance. There's a good 20 overs left to play, and I'm just here to play 20 overs. He didn't start off explosively, but when he found his rhythm and when he found his feet, probably just before the injury started worrying him, he actually started accumulating pretty fast. He came at it with the approach of, okay, I'm the guy today. Like, I'm going to be the guy to take Australia over the line. And what an innings he played. I think it's going to be one of those memorable moments for a lot of us throughout this World Cup.
And of course, we can't take or discredit Afghanistan after that stellar performance also that they've pulled with their very first maiden for Ibrahim, with Ibrahim yesterday just scoring the most important century as well, not only for himself, but the team also. We have to, I feel in any way that we have to credit Afghanistan. We've also spoken with David yesterday that they've come a long way, especially with the infrastructure, they have back home. So for them to come into this tournament and to do what they did yesterday against Australia, that surely deserves a kudos.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Afghanistan cricket's come a long way. We did mention that they are usually T20 specialists, and just for them to come out and play their natural game, brilliant innings from Ibrahim Zadran again, just giving everybody that sort of a foundation to be able to bat around him. And That's what it takes. We've been talking about the fact that you need at least one big 100 partnership if you're looking to get anywhere near the 280, 300 mark on the scorecards as well. So very well batted from them. It's been quality from them. And I think they're a true testament of the fact that, associate nations do deserve the chance to play on bigger platforms with the test playing nation teams, because given the opportunity, they can definitely come out and show out.
And before I give it to Thandi as well to just, bring you into the conversation, we have to talk about the match that is currently underway today. It would seem like England know how to get the results, especially when they should have been getting all these results earlier on in the match. They seem to now be peaking at the wrong time. Coming back to what you were saying, that they would want to bow out of this tournament with their pride. And it looks like they've set a very high score for the opposition team to, chase today.
Yeah, definitely. 339 is a big total. So before guys even, step on the field, they're facing the scoreboard before they start facing the players. And great innings for me from Dawid Malan. I believe he would have converted and actually got his 100, if not for some brilliant fielding from Logan Van Beek combined with their captain Scott Edwards behind the stumps. Again, Ben Stokes coming out as the hero for England again. He's been performing for me throughout this World Cup, and it's just been overshadowed by their losses. So a great innings from him. I'm very, very happy the fact that he crossed over and he got his 100, out for 108 today off 84. And if you just look at it, his strike rate just into the 128, somewhere around there. That tells you that he may have started slow, but when he got going, he definitely kept going. Still Josh Butler struggling to, find his feet. I'm not entirely sure what's happened with him most of this tournament, but I think like I keep mentioning that you have to have at least 100-run partnership, big partnership at the end from Chris Wilkes and Ben Stokes of 129 of just 81 balls. And that just shows you, I don't think it's an impossible task for Netherlands, but they do need to check their boxes and they do need to get certain things right if they want to get there as well.
Of course, if they do want to get there as well, we have to talk. You've just mentioned something about partnerships, and of course, that has to produce about 100 plus runs for the two teams for the two players that would have partnered up. Now, for Netherlands, what do you think, or who do you think will have to, provide those runs for them? Who are the key players that we can look at in that Netherlands team?
Yeah, definitely Sybrad Engelbert is someone to think about. He's been doing well. He did quite well in their last game as well. Captain Scott Edwards, he has great potential. We've seen him anchor off a couple of innings. We've seen him anchor the innings against South Africa, not to mention, in that big defeat that big win that they did over South Africa so earlier in the tournament. So I do believe, that team that has spark of brilliance, they just need the sparks to all meet in one place and cause a big explosion. And they have that potential to upset other teams. Maybe now at the place that they're searching at, probably need to look at just rebuilding their innings by keeping the scoreboard chipping away in the same sense. And anything that comes into your zone, or anything you feel you can manipulate to put into your zone, go ahead and do it. It's going to take a lot of guts and some grit for them to dig deep and definitely just get going.
And of course, they will have to dig as deep as possible, because that score that was set by England really is so high, and obviously it will take so much, like you're saying. Let me just hand it over to Thandi before we release you, because we are aware that you have to go to the gym today.
Oh yes, definitely.
Just a quick one. I was just thinking, based on what happened yesterday, and trying to relate it to today's game. As much as all teams are different, right, with their different strengths and weaknesses, what would you say,
Definitely.
is there to look forward to in terms of both teams, England and Netherlands? They're all at the bottom too. Is there something they can fight for to make it back into the top 7 or somewhere, or it's just one of them is just going to go home with those wins, or more like creating a name that at least we want something from this tournament?
Yeah. So, for the Netherlands, they still stand a chance. This is their 8th match. Teams above them currently sitting on 7th position, 8th position, 6th position have all played 8 games. So this is their 8th match, meaning they have 1 game in hand. And they're currently sitting on 4 points, tied with Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So I'll put it to you this way. Any team that finds themselves in the top 7 makes Champions Trophy. Any team finding themselves in the top 8 does not need to go back to qualifiers to qualify for the next World Cup. So definitely, that I believe they'd want to. Maybe for England, it's a shy too late for them. But definitely for the Netherlands, they might just fight for automatic qualification for the next World Cup. If they win today's game, they go up to 6 points, and they'll still have that one game advantage ahead of anybody else, being Bangladesh or Sri Lanka ahead of them.
Definitely. So that means there's still hope, right, for them? But do you think they'll manage to pull through since England has managed to post such a huge score for them? Who's there really to anchor them, like in the middle?
These days, I'm very scared to predict against teams at this stage, especially after Glenn Maxwell's innings last night. Hey, so currently Wesley Baresi, he's on 32 or 52 balls. He's looking like he's going pretty strong right now. And he's got Sybrand Engelbrecht, who's way more than capable at the crease with them. I just think, it's one of those things that they need to take it deep and not only like just come out it. And I'm glad today they're not just running all over the show and getting run out. Let me just start with that fact, But I think it's a great start in the right direction for them tonight. And they just want to take it as deep as they can, bat for as long as they can, as many overs as they can, and just let England do all the trying. Because it's when they start trying that things get messed up. If you flip the coin and you look at how the Netherlands bowled, they didn't bowl too badly. Obviously, a few loose balls here and there, I'd say maybe about 8 wide balls, short or wide of the stumps, or maybe just overcompensating, and trying to move their lengths around. And that's what happens when you have batsmen that are sticking around. That was Ben Stokes worrying them for a while there. That's what happens. You find guys start trying to do things to make things happen as opposed to doing the right things for as long as time. So I think if they just stick out there, and they take their innings deep, they could possibly actually find England at some point in time trying to take those wickets, see off the likes of David Wiley right now, see off the likes of Chris Wilkes, who are on a rest. They currently gave them a hard time. But since Gus Atkinson and Moeen Ali have actually come into bowl, they're actually rotating strike a lot better. They're actually finding the gaps and getting away for that single. So bat out there for as long as possible. Let the bowlers try everything to get you out. And when the opportunity comes to strike, just strike.
Yeah, true. But based on the pitch condition, will that allow them to do that? Or it's more on the
I think if they apply themselves, this assumption of the pitches and Jew and Glenn Maxwell has made a lot of information irrelevant at this current stage, guys. Like, even me as a player, I'm feeling like, are we talking about things that exist, or are we talking about things that only exist for certain players? Like he looked like he was just out there having a great time batting on one leg technically. So it's very hard at this stage to say if it comes into play or not.
Yeah, true. I hand back over.
Just before we let you go, though, the current score is 57 for 2 in the 15th .2 over. And obviously, Netherlands need a total of 283 runs in 34.4 overs to win. Their current run rate is 3.74 and the required run rate is 8.17. So surely they need to improve and just make sure that the current run rate matches that of the required run rate that they need to be, bowling at and, of course, just betting at.
Yeah, definitely, and even if they can't get to what the actual required run rate is, they just want to stay within the range of it, And I think they're actually picking up, obviously, since the Seamers have just finished their overs and they're currently facing spin. In the likes that, in the past 5 overs, their run rate has actually gone up to 6.8 in their last 5 overs, not counting the entire innings. So they just want to keep it chipping away. And I guarantee you, if they stick at the pace that they're going at, looking to go maybe 6 runs and over, plus or minus that boundary ball where you can get it, as long as they're not accumulating too many dots, I think they will find themselves well within the 280 mark, maybe round about the 10th over, hopefully, and then they can just tee off from there.
So we're not going to see another upset from the chasing today.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard call at this stage. I think let's give them about another 14 overs and get back to me, and I'll let you know what I think at that time.
But that would be cheating because now you'll know the score. We have to predict now, where there seems to be no direction at all.
Yeah, hey, you guys are making me drop a penny, wishing well and hoping the genie picks up my penny at this stage. I'm gonna go with the English, looking for some pride tonight, and say this one is in England's court.
Mm.
Yeah.
And of course, it is their match to lose. That score is really high, and I don't think that Netherlands will actually, especially with how they're playing right now, I don't think they'll be able to, get 340 runs and just win that match. Tasman, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Looking forward to seeing you in studio and of course presenting our chocolates to us. I'm sure the viewers will also just be waiting to see that today, but it will happen when you're back in studio.
110%, guys. I promise you, I'm working on this. I might just be importing it from Belgium for all you know. So definitely just be patient with me.
That would be really nice. Thank you so much. Enjoy the gym.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So yeah, Tasman saying that this is in England, scored to lose the match. I do agree with her. You're looking at that, at the stats, and you're also just looking how Netherlands have been bowling, but also if anything is to go by yesterday's match, I think also I agree with her that I just want to wait at least the 30th over to see how it it turns out from there, because now you're just putting your head on the table and they just pull what Australia did yesterday when we thought it was all over for them.
Somehow you guys might be telling the truth, because yesterday, based on what happened yesterday, I realized that the magic started in the 32nd over.
Yeah.
That's when all the Glenn Maxwell magic started, because from then onwards, that's when everything just turned around. That's when the drop catches happened, the LBWs, which they thought they managed to score, they were not accounted for. So literally, that's when the real firefighting happens. Because right now, it's one of those they're trying to find their footing, really, where they can have their roots deep down. And then they are more stable. So from the 30th over, knowing we only have 20 overs, that's when their T20s happen now, when the bets are just flying all over. So yeah.
So if England does win today's match, then they make it 4-0, because they've won a total of 3 against Netherlands in ODI formats.
Yeah.
And of course, Netherlands only have the upper hand against England in the T20 setting. So this is just complete dominance from England over Netherlands in the ODI format. But we'll come back to that match tomorrow, an all-important match for New Zealand as they look to seal the top 4 spot. If they win tomorrow's match, they are in the top 4, and then that means we conclude the semi-final spot. But Sri Lanka will not be making it any easier for them. They can't lose back-to-back matches. So I think tomorrow New Zealand have a lot to play for, as well as Sri Lanka. They have a reputation to play for.
Yeah, and it's like what's happening here, Netherlands and England. England, they know already they've been qualified. It's written all over, really.
Yeah.
But for Netherlands, they have so much to play for right now. So that's like what's going to happen as well tomorrow. Everyone will just want New Zealand to hold that spot, the 4th position for themselves. At the same time, here, most people will be rooting for Netherlands, as much as it looks like they've lost already. But they know that, okay, with this win, they're just going to be in the top 7, and that's what they really need. England really doesn't need the points, but just to boost their egos. So we'll see.
It's the pride of the all. So that's all they'll be playing for.
So now the matches which are coming on from now on, going onwards, they're just going to be tricky like that. Everyone is playing for something, and which is the type of matches would all want to watch.
But it makes me wonder though, because with New Zealand, they've lost their last 4 matches, right? And of course, the recent one being against Pakistan, using that by DLS. They've been in the top 4 almost the entire tournament. Now, this makes me wonder if teams like Pakistan, Afghanistan really haven't really put as much, because if they had really fought, I believe that there would have been a lot of movement between that number 4, number 5, number 6 spot, because they would be interchanging. Depending on the scores from the teams that they play. However, if New Zealand do win tomorrow, they will have to hope that Pakistan do not win their next match. Then that's when they cement their place in the semi-final. So it's more like everybody's just relying on everybody to drop points so that they can find themselves in that top 4 spot. So that's the only spot available. It is a tie, from number 4, 5, 6. all tied at 8 points. So New Zealand playing the final match of the tournament tomorrow. So it is a do or die. Pakistan will also just be looking to make it into the top 4. And I think it will be very interesting to see Pakistan coming into the semi-finals when New Zealand have been on the spot for a very long time, like I've been saying.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's going to be that type of match where okay, we're here for that spot, and it's no one spot right now. They're currently on number 4 based on their net run rate, but now it's a matter of who win their game. Like you are telling us that tomorrow they'll be playing Sri Lanka. It's not going to be an easy game as well. But Pakistan will be playing against England. So if one of those, will they manage to handle what England seem to be doing right now? Seems like they've woken up finally, but now it's just here to cause problems for these other teams who have managed to make it. Because if they beat Pakistan, that means they're automatically out. As much as New Zealand would have lost, but the fact that Pakistan lost as well, they've got a higher net run rate. They'll still take the spot, and you never know, maybe Afghanistan will just come and overtake the two teams.
Just speaking of that match between the two teams, Sri Lanka as well, they're coming from back-to-back defeats, with that huge loss by 302 runs to India, just losing that match, also to Bangladesh by 3 wickets. I don't think Sri Lanka will make it any easier for New Zealand. New Zealand will have to end that spot into the top 4 if they do win tomorrow's match. For Sri Lanka, the goal for them is to play for the semi-final for the top 7 spot, and they are currently number 8 with 4 points. So if they win tomorrow's match, they get 6 points. They move just a point up, a number up to number 7, removing Bangladesh from that 7th spot. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of movement between number 6 and 7 because we've got a Bangladesh that's also still have to play a match. But I feel like Afghanistan will just finish at number 6. Honestly, I don't see them just. I just feel like number 6. That's where they'll finish.
That's where they'll finish.
Yeah.
Because we can just look at where Sri Lanka is at currently. But remember, Netherlands is number 9. That's directly below them. So it will depend on today's outcome where they will be after this. Because the moment they go up with the 6 points, they take Bangladesh spot. Sri Lanka will be pushed to 9. So they still need to put in that work, like what you're saying, that it will be one of those. I need to be in the top 8 or 7. I can't just go home like that. And as we can see that all the teams tomorrow, it will be literally like their last matches, and that means they need to maximize. There's no way out here left for them, but just to put out their last lap best.
Everyone now is just left with a game to go. So this week is going to be a very busy one, a very hectic one. And of course, for India, South Africa, I believe, especially for India, it's just really a practice match. They've already qualified. And they would also they're playing against Netherlands.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a complete walkover for India because India will just want to finish the group stages unbeaten.
Yes.
This will then just take them back to what they did in 2011, winning the World Cup when they were hosting. So it seems like every time they host the World Cup, they just want to, win the World Cup. Like I said, the same thing with England. They won the World Cup in 2019 because they were hosting. So it'll be interesting to see if the African teams will also just win the World Cup since they might be hosting that one.
We hope we manage to make it through then.
Yeah, we'll see. But as things stand, honestly, the top 4 spot is for New Zealand to lose. They just have to win against Sri Lanka in tomorrow's match.
Yeah, there's no way out there. And we all know most people, like New Zealand, have more fans, really. They just want them to go there, cause some havoc.
Yeah.
They know that they can. It's like that one team which can handle India. Everyone else is just respecting them. But New Zealand to Australia, and SA here and there, it's one of those. They're just playing names as much as they have got really talented people. So semifinals is one of those, you know why you're here and the finals are mine. So it's those survival of the fittest type of thing then.
Also, Afghanistan, we're just talking about Afghanistan, and I'm saying that I don't see them, just surpassing that 6th spot because their last match is against South Africa. South Africa also coming from a loss, against India. this past week. So going into this match, I feel also South Africa have got a lot of work to do, and I would like to believe that all the teams that still have a lot of work to do are really just working on what has to be worked on during their off days, on which South Africa has had quite a few days now to prepare for that match. And I believe that they'll be going into that match looking to fix the errors that they, might have to work on in that being chasing. I'm just trying to check for Afghanistan the number of points they have so far. They have 8 points. So if they win that match against South Africa, they move to number 5 with 10 points. Now that will be their last match. And I just think it's really going to be interesting, honestly, how the matches pan on from here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. And yeah, it's one of those who hope no one will be holding their breath because anything, it can go either way. You never know. We might put Afghanistan in the 6th position and then they just surprise us all. So never know how it's going to happen, really.
Yeah, so just an update. That score between England and Netherlands is currently 67 for the loss of 2. Not too bad in the 17.2 over, not too bad for Netherlands. However, they will just need to be within the required run rate. At least if they take it a bit higher to 5 point something or even 6, that would be much better for them.
Definitely. There's still some hope, but we'll see how it will go. They might prove us wrong or right that they are supposed to be in here to play for this type of matches and these kind of challenges. They are going to win them. So if they just get defeated by seeing that big score and they have lost mentally, then that means they are not meant to be here really, because those are the type of scores which they'll be seeing going forward. Because I can foresee the semifinals or the next what you call this, the championship trophy.
Yeah.
It won't be as easy as walking down the path really. Everyone will just have to put in the work. So they have to start working from now.
And it's only not just teams that have to work, of course, with that one match each team to go, which will be concluded by this Sunday as we walk into the semifinals week next week. So teams now, like, it's crunch time. As we've already spoken about the teams and where they could potentially end this campaign, be it in the top 7, being in the semifinal, whoever gets that top 4 spot. Let's quickly just look at the players with the most runs. You've got Quinton de Kock with 550 runs in this tournament, with Virat Kohli coming second on that list with 543 runs, with an average of 108.60. And number 3, Ravindra, the Australian man who just knows how to get the runs on the scoreboard for the team when it matters most, with 523 runs. And of course, David Warner as well from Australia, who really was just looking to also just, make a name for himself again today and just score those runs and hopefully a century to make sure that yesterday in that match, to just make sure that the team really does well. However, he was dismissed very early on in the match. So he's currently sitting at number 4 with 446 the total runs. And of course, Rohit Sharma, the captain of India, with a total of 442 runs. And of course, the most wickets at number 1, the Madhushanka, the Sri Lankan, who just knows how to really get the wickets when it matters most, with a total of 21. Zampa from Australia with 20 of those wickets. At number 3, Marco Jansen of South Africa with 17 of those and an economy of 6.41. At number 4, the man who only played 4 matches, currently at number 4 with 16 wickets, and that is Mohammad Shami. And of course, last on that list is Afridi of Pakistan with 16 wickets on that. How impressive is it that a player with who played really less games, like Mohammad Shami only playing 4 games, that he has 16 wickets in 4 innings? That's just so impressive. It goes back to show and just talk about the quality within that Indian squad, and I don't see them really losing a match. And just how amazing will that be if India really just finishes this campaign unbeaten, semifinals unbeaten. Of course, that would mean they advance to the final, also just winning that.
I feel everyone would literally the fans will celebrate more than the players. The players, I'm sure they'll be exhausted. The coaches will be like, thank goodness, guys,
It's over.
it's over. But for the fans, I feel like they've managed to earn everyone's respect really all over the globe. They know that they've been working so hard. The fitness levels has been over the top really. And the way it's like each one of them, they've been performing to their maximum level. So it's one of those, you go in there, you put your 110%, the next person does the same thing. Then at the end, they know that we're here to win this thing. It's our home ground, really. We can't lose at our own home ground. So it's one of those, they're creating that big what you call this big record for themselves, and that memorable moment for their fans. So they've got so much, and the personal goals like what you're seeing right now, I'm sure they would rather take the whole top 5 position as they
and it's not impossible. They might
that
actually
is not
just do that.
impossible because they've got more chances to do so. And I'm sure definitely, and even when it comes to the leading bowler part, I'm sure if their bowlers are to do the beautiful work they're doing, like what Mohammed Shami is doing, to literally go all the way to the fight. I mean, to the top, because he knows, okay, we'll play this last game for the group stages. They know they've got the semis, they've got the final. So now it's a matter of the coach realizing his full potential and saying, you go play, other than making him sit out and saying, no, we've got someone else to take your place. So it's one of those being appreciated and continue making him play more games. You literally end at the top.
Yeah, and in closing, to today's one, let's just look at the highest scores, individual highest scores. Of course, what happened yesterday. This man, Glenn Maxwell, has earned himself the first position with a 201 runs in the strike rate of 157.03. Quinton de Kock at number 2 with 174 and a strike rate of 124.28. David Werner, again, also coming at number 3 with 163 runs. At number 4, Conway with 154 runs. And last on that list is an Englishman. So in as much as they performed badly, they do have individual players who are also just looking to complete milestones. And at number 4, that is Milan with 140 runs. And man, I feel like they had a tournament that they would like to forget about, England. But yeah, that's all we had for today's show. I don't know if there's anything that you would still like to add on to it.
No, just update on the current score right now. Netherlands is currently on 73 runs of 3 wickets in 18.5 overs. So that's a tricky one right there.
I mean, that's tricky, but I feel like it's something similar to what we've seen yesterday. But yesterday, I think around the time it was like 90 something for the loss of 7. So 73 for the loss of 3. I feel like there's still a lot of hope for them. Plus, with the overs still on their side, 31.1 overs. They just need 267 runs, but that's a lot that they need to do.
That could be someone's single score. We'll never know.
Exactly. I mean, it really could be. We've seen what Glenn did yesterday.
Exactly.
So who do you think is going to win this match between England and Netherlands today?
To be safe so that I don't have to pay anyone with chocolate, I'll take it based on the stats and the prediction here I'm seeing. It's saying Netherlands have 7.64% chance of winning.
Is that Google, the win probability?
Yeah. And then England, they've got 92.36%. So it's one of those, we give the game to England, but at the same time, I'm praying and hoping that Netherlands just cements their position where they are. They just need this win. Because against the upcoming game, it's going to be even tougher.
I mean, they must just accept that it might be back-to-back defeats. I mean, you're playing against India. That's not going to be an easy one. We've seen them destroying a South Africa that's currently on a form of their life, at number 2 on the lock table.
So this is the only game they can win against. So they just need
but
to
with
start
that score that's been set, I doubt it.
Okay, we'll see how it will end then.
Yeah, we'll see how it ends. For me, I think it's gonna end. England are gonna walk this one. I mean, they're just playing for their reputation at this point in time and their pride. So they would want to win this match today. I feel like they've already won it, so they just need to win their last match of the season. Let me just see who they will be playing against, and that's all that they have to do. If they win today's match and win the next match, then I believe that two
They're
wins.
playing against Pakistan.
Okay, Pakistan are also playing for the top four spots, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think England is gonna win today's match.
Okay, may the best men win, I guess.
May the best man win.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with that most important match for New Zealand, looking to make it to the top four spot. Sri Lanka won't make it any easier for them, but we'll see how the one ends. Thank you.
Thank you.